Securing data is useful. Securing...
what data are you securing?
Any data that you would want.
What data are you securing?
Financial data, mortgage data,
but on your
personal data,
if I have one
my
Bitcoin,
birth certificate, my personal data, my verification of who I am. So I don't need Equifax to sell my data and lose my data and fuck my data. I can have my data on a private key and say, this is me. It's immutable. It's every 10 minutes. It's verified. That's who I am. Give me my fucking money.
Hey, what is up, guys? Bitcoin is getting wrecked. Today it dropped below $7,000. While there is a blood on the street, I'm going in and buying more Bitcoin. In this video, I will talk about why I'm buying more Bitcoin right now, and I have very interesting and funny debate for you to see between Max Keiser and Peter Schiff. As of the time of this video, Bitcoin is currently trading around $7,000. Within 3 days, it dropped from $8,500 to below $7,000, losing $1,500 of its dollar value, or close to 18%. If you look at the bigger picture, this year Bitcoin peaked at $13,800 and it dropped to the current price. That would be almost 50% retracement. Ouch, it must hurt. Well, not really. I'm using this opportunity to buy more Bitcoin. I'm guessing Black Friday arrived early this year, exactly 1 week earlier. I know some of the viewers are going to say, hey man, you should not buy Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin is going to go even lower. It's going to drop below $5,000. Well, here is my response to that statement. I'm not afraid to catch a falling knife and get my hands a bit bloody. You do not know how low Bitcoin is going to go, nor do I. But I know one thing. Those people who are telling me that I'm crazy buying Bitcoin right now are the same people who were telling me that Bitcoin is going to go to $1,000 early this year when Bitcoin was slightly above $3,000. Back then, I bought slightly below $4,000 when blood was on the streets. Yes, I had doubts in my mind, but deep inside I knew I was making the right decision. This video is brought to you by Dudex. Dudex is reliable and user-friendly cryptocurrency exchange with up to 100x leverage swaps. It has one of the lowest transaction fees in the industry. The most important thing for me is there is no KYC requirements, which means they won't send your data to IRS. If you are interested, use the link in the description box below, sign up and receive your $10 registration bonus and up to $70 trading bonus. We know that Bitcoin halving is approaching next year. Let's zoom out a bit and take a look what exactly happened prior to Bitcoin halving before. This chart was created by Wrecked Capital, where he posted in his Twitter account. As we can see that in 2012, few months before halving, Bitcoin retraced by 47%, going from $8 to below $5. In 2016, we had a similar scenario. Bitcoin retraced by more than 40%, going from $600 to $360. Now, the drop is actually close to 50%, and it would be quite surprising if Bitcoin would go much lower than that. Therefore, I believe this is a great opportunity to buy more. Don't be scared. For me, it makes no sense if you were buying at $10,000 and not at $7,000. You refuse to buy Bitcoin because you're scared and think it will go lower. So what? Let it go lower. The problem with this type of people is that they do not have long-term vision. They're just here to make a quick buck and leave. This type of people would get hurt the most in the end. If you have that mentality, you should not be in investment in the first place. It does not even matter if it's cryptocurrency market or a stock market. But those of you who have a long-term vision and temperament will succeed in this investment game. Now let's go to Bitcoin debate between Max Keiser and Peter Schiff. This was very hilarious and interesting debate between those two. I only highlighted the most memorable and funny moments, so take a look.
Now, as far as gold being a safe haven, it is a safe haven, as I've talked about it myself many times, as is Bitcoin a safe haven, in that it fulfills the requirements of a safe haven. And in terms of money, in terms of looking at it as
Bitcoin,
money.
How many years has Bitcoin been around?
Since 2009.
All right, and Yeah, so where is your track record? I mean, to me, it's a risk asset. I mean, you can't say that I'm going to buy Bitcoin today. I mean, Bitcoin's around $3,500 a Bitcoin. I mean, it can as easily be at 5,000 next week as 3,000. And how can something that has that much volatility be considered safe? Like, I'm going to park my money in Bitcoin because I'm worried about something. I'm just going to park my money here to keep it safe. I don't want to worry about it. I mean, there's plenty to worry about. I mean, Bitcoin is riskier than most assets. I would say that it's the most risky asset right now that you have. I mean, if you're selling your stocks, if you own the S&P 500 and you sell that, which is risky, to buy Bitcoin, you've gone from one risky asset to an asset that's even riskier.
So let's look at the safe haven aspect of the government. Now, China is just trying to ban Bitcoin and ICOs and things like that. Why? They're trying to block capital flight. They're not banning gold. Because why? You can't cross the border with a block of gold. But you can transfer $10 million worth of Bitcoin in an instant. I tried crossing the French-London border with $10,000 worth of silver. Believe me, I got stopped. And they were like, what the heck is this? And it broke my my Samsonite suitcase. So
you could have a gold watch, gold jewelry. You can have, you can take stuff across the border. But,
I know you can, but they notice it. And
yes, a lot of people were using Bitcoin in China to circumvent exchange controls to get money out of China. And yes,
it's a safe haven.
Well, no, it's not a safe haven. It was being used as a way to move money out of China. Once they moved it out, maybe they liquidated their Bitcoin and bought Swiss francs or dollars or gold. You don't know what they did with the Bitcoins once they got out of China.
Well,
but they used China as a way to circumvent those rules. And so that's why China's cracking down on it, because they don't want their
Venezuela's cracking down on it? All these governments are cracking down on Bitcoin, not on gold.
Oh, well, I guess that's a positive for gold, isn't it?
No, it would suggest that they're not afraid of gold, that it's not as safe as you might think it is.
Well, why do you think central banks own gold? I mean, they recognize the value in gold, and but I think that one of the reasons they're not even more aggressive in Bitcoin is they're not as afraid of it. I don't think they regard it as a real threat to their monetary system. I do think they see it as a potential use for crime. But I do believe that the government will be able to, if they haven't already, figure out how to trace Bitcoin to the owner by looking at the internet and using to backtrack, using search patterns or whatever, and almost like a fingerprint. So it's almost like if a criminal ends up using Bitcoin, that might be how they catch them. They might be able to use the internet to trace people to their wallets and figure it out. And it's so. But that's where if they thought it was a real threat to their monetary system, then they would probably go after it already.
So Max, one thing that Peter Schiff has said is that Bitcoin is not scarce because of all of these new altcoins and ICOs. What do you think about this argument?
Well, the scarcity argument is one where the ecosystem around Bitcoin, the investment into the Bitcoin protocol, multi-billion-dollar investment, it's one that is serving the interests of those who are part of that ecosystem. It's like having a very profitable gold mine. You have put money into this gold mine. You are extracting wealth from this gold mine. And there might be other gold mines in the area that you would be interested in mining. You would have to incentivize to move from currently the profitable gold mine into another gold mine. And that is not, there's a cost associated with that. And as far as the other coins that have come along that are mimicking attributes of Bitcoin, you have other competitors for gold. You have silver, you have platinum, you have other precious metals, you have other collectibles. There's a huge market around the world for so-called scarce commodities or scarce commodities that represent value. In the case of Bitcoin, it is the one that is attracting the most fervent interest at this time, and it has, it's not something that can be replicated easily in the way that you can't replicate, let's say, the HTTP protocol that runs the internet, parts of the internet. This is an established protocol. It's an entrenched protocol. You could come up with a competitor in 5 minutes, but you already have the network effect that's built this out over years. It's not something that can be replicated, and there wouldn't be a user base for it. It is possible that on the extreme case that you would have something coming along and competing with Bitcoin, but that risk also represents itself in precious metals as too, the probability of it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, yes. I mean, there are other metals that function as money. Silver is used as money. Copper is used as money. That's been true for hundreds of years or thousands of years as well. But there is no substitute for gold in that there is no other metal that is gold. I mean, they're not going to come up with a new gold. So yes, you can use other metals as money, and that's already there, and that's been happening. But that is very different than
gold is periodic table element number 79, I believe, and it has unique attributes that people have glommed onto for thousands of years, and it's chemically the way it is chemically, and it has survived in this store of value. And Bitcoin has attracted, in likewise a manner, a unique ecosystem of developers, and it has the model that has a well-balanced interest, all associated with this multi-billion-dollar franchise.
Yeah, I get that, but my point is,
it's unique.
Yeah,
it is unique. It is as unique as gold. To say that it's not as unique as gold is false.
I don't think it's unique as gold.
I
think there are plenty of other cryptocurrencies that are as good or better
there's
than
gold,
Bitcoin.
There's platinum, there's silver, there's other
but
precious
they're not,
metals.
Look, and you don't.
It's your opinion.
You don't know.
They're equally unique in their own way.
Let me finish my point.
One is electronic and one is physical.
Well, look,
okay.
You know, to say that even if these cryptocurrencies were going to work, that the first cryptocurrency is going to end up being the one that everybody wants. It's like saying, well, yeah, the first cell phone is the one everybody uses. Remember those big bricks? Although the first one, was a car phone, or you know what the first television set looked like? It had a tiny little screen. It was like a big piece of furniture with like a 2-inch screen. I mean, assuming that the world is going to want cryptocurrencies, there's going to be so many more that are going to come around that are going to get rid of the ones that are already maybe better than Bitcoin. So there's an unlimited number of new cryptocurrencies that can be introduced into the world that people can buy instead of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has already spun off Bitcoin Cash, so now they've even diluted itself by creating another Bitcoin. I mean, how many more Bitcoin spin-offs are there going to be over time? So who knows what the supply of Bitcoin will be by all of its various names, but then you have all these other cryptocurrencies coming out. I mean, I get emails now all the time from people, newsletters, trying to get me to give them $50 to get the name of the next 3 penny cryptos that are going to skyrocket 1,000%. I mean, this is all over the place now. These coins are coming up left and right. So the supply of digital currencies is exploding. And just because people have invested a bunch of money,
and the market is sustaining this burst of other, because there's huge demand in light of the problems that the Bitcoin is set up to address in the banking industry and the flotation of hundreds of trillions of dollars.
Sustaining it now.
And they would love to go to gold, but gold is dead on arrival. It hasn't moved in 4 years. It's like gold is sitting there sleeping, looking at Bitcoin, and what you yourself, got pitched on Bitcoin when it was like $3 or so on the Joe Rogan show, as we found out on the Joe Rogan show.
No, it wasn't $3. It was like $20.
On my show, it was $3.
Well, I don't even. All right, but yes, there's a lot of greedy people who are chasing this bubble with delusions of all the wealth.
I thought you were a libertarian. Isn't greed part of libertarianism? That we're trying to build a better society through self-interest?
Look. People have a right to be greedy, and they have a right to be foolish, and people are being both, right, when they're chasing into this mania. But there is an unlimited supply of these currencies, and right now, yes, there is demand because there are a lot of fools who think they're going to get rich buying them. But at some point, the supply is going to overwhelm the demand, and the price is going to collapse.
So Max and I were at the Bundesbank in Frankfurt, and they have a money museum there. And walls of all the things that have been money and tried as money. People always come back to gold. The same thing will happen with cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin will always be the gold standard.
How do you know that? It's only been around. It's been around for such a short period of time. How can you make a statement? People are always going to want Bitcoins?
So, wherever the network is.
All right, let me ask you a question. What's the lowest price you think Bitcoin could fall to?
Well, it's a function of the cost of mining, which is approximately $1,000 Bitcoin. So it could drop to 1,000. Just like in the mining industry, when the cost of mining gets below what is pull gold out of the mining stops. It's the same analogy
but that would
mining.
just mean that there would be no more supply, but you'd have the existing supply. But so
and there's a huge demand. I mean, to your point that will supply ever exceed demand, and therefore there'll be a crash? I think that's a misstatement, because right now the demand for cryptocurrencies is not even scratched the surface due to the hundreds of trillions of dollars in derivatives that are collapsing around the world. Debts
you're
are
assuming that demand. Look,
of course they have to collapse. You know, you can't go to negative interest rates. You can't incentivize people to lend money at the government at a guaranteed negative rate of return. They're only doing this at the point of a gun. It's freaking central bank communists, who think that, we're going to get people to invest at a negative rate of return, and if you don't, we're going to put a bullet in your head. I mean, that's the model that these central banks are pursuing. That's the model of the dollar. I mean, we both don't like the dollar, except you've got a boner for gold in a reason that doesn't make any sense, because they're compatible. We should be on the same page. Your customers want crypto. You're saying, no, it's my ideology prevents you from making money. Well, your customers a year from now are going to say, why did you talk me out of this? You freaking idiot, because now I'm broke. Just like they did 3 years ago. It's going to happen again and again and again. The arguments don't make sense.
The reason we can't be on the same page is because you're in a fiction book and I'm in a nonfiction book. You're actually in a comic book, right? And yes, in a comic book, this could work.
When I look at my Bitcoin wallet compared to gold money, trust me, I'm not in a comic book.
Look.
As a matter of fact, I'd like to buy gold money right now. I'll make you an offer just to shut this debate down.
All right, well, look.
Okay.
If you're a Bitcoin billionaire, you can't even afford a suit. How much?
How many billionaires do you know wear suits?
All right. So, but look,
I don't need to wear a suit. I'm not selling anything.
You can pick up
it sells itself. Anyone who's got a brain and a conscience and a desire to be free is going to want to be in crypto. They're not going to be walking around with a shitload of gold. Hi, I've got 2 tons of gold. Let me into your country. I want to be free. Let me into your country. They'll say, I'll take your gold right now, and you're going to jail.
You know that you need more people to come into the pyramid to keep pushing up the price. But I don't have to care. I can have $10 million worth of gold in my wallet right now and walk around with it. I don't
have $1 billion on my memory wallet and go anywhere in the world. The 12-word key to my wallet.
Until it's worthless. Until nobody wants it.
The demand is there because people don't want the fiat money that they're throwing into the toilet, and they want some gold too. I have plenty of gold.
Want those fiat crypto monies either. It's the same. It's going to be the same thing.
Okay,
that's what people told me about the housing bubble. There's all this demand. I said yes, but when the demand goes away, there's just supply. And all these houses nobody wanted to buy, and the prices implode.
But they didn't go to zero. No,
because you can live in a house. There's actual value.
Okay.
There's nothing you can do. Bitcoin will probably not go to zero. It'll probably be a few pennies because there'll always be an optionality there. Somebody will buy it like a lottery ticket.
Peter, how many times do we have to hear about you calling the housing bubble before you finally move on? Okay, I mean, you had one good call from 2007.
I didn't have one good call.
And now we're here every time he goes. It's like, I called the housing bubble. Yeah, that was like 10 years ago already.
It's not about my calling it.
Where were you
during
Bitcoin?
It. Look, I didn't participate in the dot-com bubble. I didn't participate in the housing bubble, and I didn't participate in the cryptocurrency Bitcoin bubble either. So I'm consistent.
Gold mining stock bubble, though. There was a gold mining stock bubble.
But I didn't buy them at the highs.
You were recommending them. You did too.
Okay.
Ask Mike.
As part of a diversified portfolio, yes.
Let's
diversified, therefore I didn't lose money. I didn't lose money because it was diversified. I have less than I started with, but it's not less because I was diversified. That negative number there, that's not negative. It's a diversified number.
Max.
You see what I'm saying?
Max.
It's a tax write-off, which is a gain.
Max.
You made money because you got it written off on your taxes.
What about the people who bought Bitcoin at 1,000 and then when it went down to 200, they sold it and they lost 80% of their money? What about that?
They're idiots.
Well, you can't account for speculators.
Well,
your whole business is dealing with your customers buying gold mining stocks in 2008. They dropped 80%. They sold them. I listened to you on the podcast on radio, nursing people from coming off the ledge to kill themselves. You're like, don't sell now. Don't kill yourself.
And I was right, because you know how much they rallied from 08 to 2011?
And you know how much where Bitcoin's going? It's going to 100,000, dude.
No, it's not.
And you're going to be on the Connecticut train station looking at your watch saying,
it's not.
How the fuck did I end up with owning this shit? Bitcoin is an instrument. It's a financial instrument in that regard. And regardless of the price action or the move in the price action, there will be people who perceive it in good value. What is the value proposition of Bitcoin? It fulfills all the four major categories under Aristotle's proposition for good money. What is value? It's the portability, divisibility, fungibility, and scarcity and desirability. It fulfills all those characteristics.
I would debate the scarcity, but it doesn't have any real... Money must be a commodity in and of itself before it's money. It must have actual use. No, it's not.
It is.
Okay, so you tell me, what can you do with your Bitcoins right now?
Sound.
I
have a Bitcoin debit card. I can go anywhere in the world and buy
spending
stuff.
It.
That's right.
What can you do?
But Peter, I believe
I can secure immutably for all time in history data. On a blockchain, the Bitcoin it's the biggest blockchain in the world.
You don't need
Every 10 minutes it's totally verified. No, yes, you do. You can, because otherwise you have the ability of others to come in and change that database. Databases, you can have any database product can come along and secure data, but it's not immutable and it's not stored.
No, it has to have
secure because of the technology of proof of work.
It has to have an actual
every 10 minutes.
Apart from
securing data is useful. Securing
what data are you securing?
Any data that you would want.
What data are you securing?
Financial data, mortgage data.
But on your personal data, if I have one,
my birth certificate, my personal data, my verification of who I am, so I don't need Equifax to sell my data and lose my data and fuck my data. I can have my data on a private key and say this is me. It's immutable. It's every 10 minutes. It's verified. That's who I am. Give me my fucking money.
You don't need Bitcoin either.
Yes, you do, because it's the most secure. It's the only secure database that's ever been invented. That's the technology. You fail to understand that it's a new technology that is as profound as the printing press or the electric light bulb. You're comparing it to things that you shouldn't be comparing it to. It makes no sense. You're talking nonsense.
Yeah, this is...
It's a brand new breakthrough in technology. Your kids are going to be wondering why their dad didn't see the value. They'll be like, Dad must have been on drugs because he never saw the value.
This is a cult of Bitcoin. This is your guru. This is the type of reaction that you're going to get. I mean, you might as well be Sung Young Moon or something, or just don't drink any. Let
me help you help yourself.
Peter, do you accept Bitcoin? Huh? Does Euro Pacific Capital?
Well, Euro Pacific Precious Metals.
You do.
No, we don't accept Bitcoin. What we do is we make it easy for people who have Bitcoin to sell it to get dollars to buy gold from Schiff Gold. But we do not accept Bitcoin, and nobody really accepts. There's no company
who accepts gold. Who accepts gold? You've got your gold medal card in there. You say, look, I've got my gold card. When you use it at a retailer, they make it right back to dollars. No, they don't keep it in gold. They don't want gold because you can't pay taxes in gold. You can't have any value in gold. Nobody accepts gold.
But I can wear my gold. There's a ring. You can't do anything.
I can wear my hard drive up my asshole and know that I'm a millionaire and without you knowing about it.
See, look,
because it's anonymous. I don't need to flash my wealth. I know it's in my brain.
No. See, this is my gold money card.
This is my paper wallet.
Yeah.
This has my keys right here, my private keys. I'm blind. But my card actually goes up in value instead of gold, which is going down.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. You know what? Let's see what you say in a couple of weeks if Bitcoin is way lower.
I'll say bye.
No matter how low it is, you'll be saying bye-bye, right? Doesn't matter how low it goes, you're just going to take this ship and ride it all the way to the bottom, right? You're just going down with it. Right?
Well,
doesn't matter how low it goes.
I believe that there is an intrinsic value price point around $1,000, and I think that you can get down to there possibly. And I would recommend the need for it is profound and it's universal, and people are buying it who are in dire circumstances. And